Hello everyone, welcome to XR Open Source Fellowship Program. So we have Gauthier from Z Anatomy. Hello Gauthier, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm very well. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. So this is our first Ask Me Anything sessions. We will have some questions from the developers, those who are planning to apply for the project. And before that, I just wanted to understand couple of things from you. The first question that I have in my mind is, would be great if you can explain more about the organization first.
Excuse me. What about what?
Organization, about your organizations, said anatomy.
About what I do in the project?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, Actually, the anatomy is just a name, but the models come from a Japanese organism that is called body parts 3D, and they produced these models about 10 years ago. So these models have been on internet available for everybody for 10 years, and mm, mm, well, my contribution was to organize them and make them navigable. Uh, Several other persons had already tried to do that, but they couldn't, probably because they had not much understanding or mastering of Blender. And so I spent now 2 years, well, one year especially on the blend, um, decimating the model, making it lighter, making the materials, renaming, organizing stuff to recreate the hierarchy, and all this with the Polish Python coder who made the add-on for Blender, and with the Spanish developer who made the app. And in collaboration with them, we achieved to recreate all the functions, or to create all the functions that we wanted to provide in order to give the possibility to the user to go through the model with much comfort. Like he can, many 3D atlas already exist, and we still have to improve the anatomical accuracy and visual quality. But I think that on the level of the functions, there are already very big steps that have been done, because it is now easy and fast to create exactly the view that you want to get from the anatomy, because there are so many layers, so many systems that are one inside the other, that it can become super tedious to take the parts off one by one, because there are so many. And if you test the app, you'll understand, because it's now very fast and easy. So the contribution is mainly this: it's organization, naming, making it work all together with Blender and the app, um, and basically going from the rough 3D model of body part 3D to the blend and the app, with the help of the two other persons.
Yeah, so basically, what we understand from your project is you are looking for the developers, specifically 3D artists, some full stack developers who can create specifically for the web versions also, so that what Louis was building, like right for the PC version, the Atlas for the PC version. So we have some questions got here from the students. So I'm just hovering all these questions to the screen. If you can address this, it would be really great. Okay, so there is this question from Shekhar, and he's asking what would be the prerequisite knowledge required, because I'm good at Metaspark and virtual scripting, Blender, but not sure about the project. So how can Z Anatomy add? How he can contribute to Z Anatomy?
Um, for what I understand, because I'm not a coder, so I can explain what I understand of it. But
Please.
there are two main parts for the moment. It could be used to make a derivative inside another game engine. But for the moment, what we have and what we would like to build upon is the Blender add-on, which is Python script for making new functions and improve the functions inside Blender. But the basis is already there, so it's working on top of something that's already very advanced. And the second part of it, it's the app in Unity that's already functional, but for the moment it only works on Windows 10 and up. And the idea would be to adapt it to Mac and Linux, and also to create a web viewer from this app that for the moment you have to download it, unzip it, and you can run it or install it as you prefer. There are two versions, but it would be very cool to have a web viewer and also to add some specific functions linked to the web viewer. The idea would be to have an URL system that allows to create an URL and paste it within a website or in a Wikipedia page, for example, and to open the atlas directly open on a specific structure. So that this would be the perfect fit for illustrating Wikipedia. So you could go navigating through Wikipedia through the several pages because you have the hypertext links, but you also have them inside the atlas so that you could go from Wikipedia to the atlas and from the atlas to Wikipedia or any other website. So if a website wants to speak about a specific structure or region, you can just paste the link to the atlas opened on this structure, and then the user could go on navigating in the atlas if he wants to, or just close it. And there is also the idea to create, of course, to finish and correct the anatomy of the man, and then after to create a female model using the anatomical structures that are common in male and female models. So to adapt everything to create a beautiful female model, and to create a serious game, so that for the moment you have all this data that you can go through, but there is no linear path to go through it. The idea would be to try and create, just as a normal game, levels, so that you could start very basic, like head and shoulder and so on, and to finish in the very details, but step by step going through the whole anatomy and having well, we have a game that could be used as a reference to provide like a principle of gaming, but there could be also variation. But the main idea is already there, and it would probably use the app from Unity. But if somebody really wants to recreate everything inside Unreal Engine or other, well, it can be done. But for the moment, the app in Unity is already very advanced, and the idea was to build upon it to make a game out of it, either on top or on the side. Could be the same or two different things. It depends.
Yeah, so for the audience who are listening, so I'm just summarizing what Gauthier said. So what he wants is to make these models that are already anatomical models that are already present there. Like the female model is already present, the male model is already present, and he needs some 3D modelers who can 3D modelers plus some Python scripters who are very good at Python. They can help us to build this project more crisp and make some more models that are not present there, so that male body could be the male project could be completed. Similarly, as the male model Gauthier and his team has already, or the team Gauthier is building upon it, they have already built it. They also want to replicate into the same for the female body structure, so that they can make each and every structure or body part in a sense that everyone can it needs to be very light for using the Blender or maybe Unreal Engine, Unity, whatever you guys are using. So the basic idea is the prerequisites can be Unity, Unreal Engine, Python script, and Blender. These are the prerequisites for the Z anatomy project. And Yeah, so exactly, Shekhar. So I can see some of the questions in the chat box. So these questions, guys, this AMA session is specific for Z anatomy project. I'll address all these questions later in the session, but let's first address the question around the Z anatomy. So Gauthier, I have one more question for you. So what do you like? How do you think? Like what type of duration these, or how much time these developers need to invest on this project to make it good for to match your expectations
Per week.
per week?
Mm, I don't know, but I guess that adapting the app to Mac and Linux shouldn't be that difficult. The creation of a web viewer, I don't really know what it implies, but in principle, everything is already there. Well, all that is about the coding, I don't really understand what it means, and this would have to be seen with Louis Vinant, who created the app. But in principle, I believe that it could be done pretty quickly. About the serious game and the well, all that implies 3D modeling, because I understand and know what it implies. I know that this can be a very long work, and while building the principle, I don't know, maybe it could be quick, but as it implies 3D modeling and anatomy, um, this could be longer. But well, the principle of the creation of the series game, I don't know, maybe in itself about the coding could be done in just a few weeks. But then afterwards, there will probably be much work to do for 3D modelers. And just to mention that there is a Discord server that is used to coordinate all the people willing to contribute on this project, and that there are many specialists that are like linked to the server, but for the moment, very few, if any, is actually contributing. So getting people to be interested and to present themselves is done, and about 60 persons already involved. But getting them to work regularly and to really produce 3D objects, and especially to coordinate themselves and make sure that everything fits. All the tools are already present and they work, but for the moment, the 3D modelers, they don't really produce anything. But it
Yeah,
can go pretty fast, like editing and correcting the vessels and nerves. It can be quite fast. But this is mainly studying anatomy and understanding how to edit the curves. But at the 3D modeling level, it's not very difficult. It's mostly studying anatomy and translating this understanding into 3D. But it doesn't require huge mastering of 3D if it's only for vessels and nerves.
yeah. I hope that answers multiple questions because Gauthier has mentioned it very clear that this project doesn't require very specific knowledge to Blender. It can really help those who are like at intermediate level for Blender on the Blender. And just to summarize the Z anatomy project that Gauthier has mentioned, so the first task will be correct and complete the anatomical accuracy of the main model. So the main model is already built, and Gauthier in the Z anatomy project, Gauthier is looking forward to make this model more accurate. Second could be create a female model from the male model. So the female model needs to be created from very scratch. So those who are wondering, those who are willing to contribute to the Z anatomy, you can be could be your chance. Like Gauthier has mentioned, it can be start. You can start from building from very basic structures like from shoulders, from hands, or maybe from forehead or something like this. So this could be very basic if you are working on the female model, right? So the second
No,
one,
no, excuse me, but that's not exactly what I said, because what I mentioned with the head and shoulder is about the way to create the serious game, so that a child could start learning anatomy, recognizing very basic stuff like the arm, the leg, and so on. But
yeah,
in order to be effective, the idea would be to go the further possible with the male model, and then the female model would have to be created from scratch. And this is something that a 3D modeler that wants to be quite free and make something really pertinent, because there are so many people asking for it, and there aren't nearly any good open source model for female organs. But then if it is to integrate these female organs in a full female model, the idea would be to take all the common anatomical structures from the male model and adapt it to the female model, because it would be much more effective to than to recreate everything from scratch, because there is the naming, the organization, and even the location of things would just be adapted with addition to create the female model. But it doesn't, it makes so much sense to start again everything.
Yeah,
Could be
I
done, but it wouldn't be very effective actually.
Yeah, and some three points are also mentioned by the Gauthier is adapt the app application to Mac as well as for Linux, because it's currently supported for Windows, and also creating a web viewer, and alongside creating a URL system so that you can click on any anatomical structure and it could refer to the Wikipedia. I hope that's what you are looking for, Gauthier, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So now let me just answer some quick questions on the chat box. So these are, what if we don't know this, but we are willing to get exposure through these technologies via this project? Okay, so answering this question, you can explore if you want to explore this project and you are really interested in the project, then you can apply or submit your proposal. But if you are not sure that you will get selected, then I'll suggest to explore other projects to you. Okay, that would be really good plus for you. And yeah, it will take a
Um,
long time to learn this. Yeah,
the
Gauthier, you have.
ideal the ideal obviously would be to have somebody that knows coding, anatomy, and 3D modeling, but that nearly never happens. If
Yeah.
somebody is good at any of these three, he can be useful. And if he knows two of them, even better. But if he knows at least one of these three domains, if he knows something about coding, if he knows something about anatomy, if he knows something about 3D modeling, he can be useful. And I think that it makes one discipline much more interesting if it's uh, made in combination with other disciplines. I see so many 3D modelers that are very talented and they create always the same things,
Was
always beautiful women and gaming characters. But from my point of view, that's not really what I'm interested in to see in 3D, because there are so many super pertinent things on the scientific level that there is a huge public for it, because the people studying anatomy, there are not even thousands, there are millions. All the planet wants to know the anatomy, and for the moment, they can only use very old books or they have to pay, and it's not cheap. If you want to have an anatomy book, it's about 70 euros. It's super expensive for most of the people that live with less than $2 a day. So it makes basic knowledge about our body nearly unavailable for more than the half of the planet. So working on this, don't worry if you don't know anatomy. We have all the reference that you need. But of course, the idea is to be anatomically accurate. And we can provide all the information needed so that you don't have to worry too much about where to get the information. We'll provide all this. And if you're coding, while coding, it's doesn't you don't need to know anatomy to code. It just well, the idea is to build something that we the anatomy tries to be coherent with itself. Many people enter the Discord server and they want to do something different, and they are welcome, but we won't help too much with their solution if it doesn't go in the direction that we have been followed for 2 years. But it can be done. If you prefer to do something of your own, totally different, you can. But to get help from the team, then it has to be concerted and to be something that we all agree upon.
right. Thank you so much, Gauthier. So I just wanted to reiterate what Gauthier mentioned. The secret sauce of getting selected in Z anatomy is if you understand coding, if you understand 3D modeling, and if you also understand anatomy, it's a great project for you to apply. If you understand any two of this, it's a better option for you to apply. And as we envisage, everywhere is developer in this session, and 3D modeling, they do understand. If you are good with these two things, you must apply for this project. And going further, you can also learn about anatomy and work with Gauthier and his team to get this done. So we have also posted the Discord server link wherein you can speak with Gauthier and his team and understand more about the project before submitting it. Just ask as much as questions you have and then submit it. And we are looking around 18 to 24 minimum hours per week to be dedicatedly put on Z Anatomy project.
I added two other links. So there are three main tools that are used to coordinate the people. The idea at the beginning was mostly to work with 3D modelers and anatomists, but there are very important things to do on the coding level too. But so there is the Discord server, that's the chat. There is a kind of a Kanban that's called Taiga because it's the open source version of Asana. Or, well, there are many of them, but so that you have tasks that are assigned to each one, so that we know who does what and well when it's done and so on. And there is the third document that's a lexicon, the official lexicon of anatomy. It's about 7,000 of anatomical structures in Latin and English. And a big part of the work that has been done by Z Anatomy for the last 2 years is to translate this lexicon. That I translated it in French, another guy he translated it in Spanish, then a girl in Portuguese, and so on. The Indian version exists, but it hasn't been corrected yet. So if some people want to work on translation, it's very welcome. And because as soon as it's completely corrected, the Indian version can be integrated in both the blend and the app in the web viewer, if there is a web viewer. For the moment, it's still a work in progress. But I don't know exactly if it fits with the XROS Fellowship Program, but know that we are also looking for translators.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning. Like, so who are those who are wondering to contribute to this? Those who want to contribute to the idea of Z anatomy, this could be real plus for you because, as Gauthier mentioned, you could contribute as a translator of these structures that are of lexicon of anatomy translations. Right. Now I'm just going to answer some basic questions that are mentioned in the chat. Like a top class had said, how to choose between so many projects. So you can explore what skills do you have, what kind of experience do you have. On the basis you can select so many projects, you can select any four, you can submit proposals in any four projects, and you will be working on a single project. Now there's some more questions. Another question here: what if I don't know any skills in XR technology? So there you should have some basic idea of XR technology. So if you have worked in AR, VR, so you could it's a plus for you. And yes, Mahal, only 100 fellows will get selected in this cohort, and we are looking forward in the next for the next year. Can anyone help us to guide through these projects? So, top class, we will be having these regular hurdles where we'll be explaining all these projects, and we'll be inviting mentors like Gauthier, and we'll be inviting all the mentors so that you can get an idea like what the project idea looks like. And Kim is asking how to get selected for the fellowship. I'm good at JavaScript. What more should I learn? So,
Just explore the projects that require knowledge like JavaScript and apply for that.
yeah. Uh, And let's see, answering. So if you could answer this.
So we are looking minimum of one application at Z Anatomy and maximum four we are selecting for this project.
I have a question. Because
Yeah, please.
there were two applications for the anatomy at the beginning, one for the creation of the male and female model and the anatomical accuracy, and the other one for the serious game. I don't know if both of them were retained or not.
Right. So when the project will be start, so post the student onboarding, developers onboarding, there will be around mentor-mentee interaction wherein you got to get to in touch with the mentors. They'll final shortlisted and then the fellowship begins from the month of April.
Yeah, and answering your question, Gauthier. So for particularly one project, we are providing four. So to just to be concise, you can get maximum 8 developers, 4 developer per project. So you have two projects, so 8 developers per project maximum, right? So this
Okay.
is what we have discussed about. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, how many developers? So I hope that answers your question, Sekhar. Understand. So this is all about today. I'm not Python machine learning. Should good fit for her. So Snehajali, should you can explore all these links, and if you still have any doubts, you can. So I have already shared the Discord server link of Gauthier's channel, so you can just jump in there. You can ask these queries to like-minded people over there. So there are more than, as Gauthier mentioned, there are more than 60 plus contributors who are contributing to Z Anatomy. So you can ask your questions over there, and you can explore if you have possible synergies. You can definitely submit the proposal for the Z Anatomy project.
Yes, I'd like to mention that because it's anatomy and that it is linked with all the disciplines of health, so that there has been already a kind of a branch of this work going towards the physiology. The physiotherapist, the movements, so that that in 3D you can use a rig and move the model. And so there has already been 1 month or so, or 2 months, dedicated to improving the physiological movements of the skeleton, because it's much more complicated than a normal character. But then there's also a branch that goes in integrating the DICOM, so the medical imaging data inside the model and fitting. So there are several other ways to develop, and to know more about this, you should go on the Discord server. I try to, well, to be simple, but it can be derivated in several ways, actually.
Cool. So there is one another question from Noman. If I have an experience in open source but not in XR, do I have chance of getting selected? I got selected for Google Summer of Code 22. Does it affect my selection? So Noman, the first and the most point is the essence of time. If you are able to devote proper time that required for the particular projects for the respective organizations, if you are able to do it, then we are okay, and of course the mentors are okay. The second point is you need to apply for the organizations in which you think you can crack. So before getting into any judgment part, just apply for the projects and let's set the process roll on it.
Yeah, and so for on the last note, I just wanted to end this AMA session right over here. And thank you, Gauthier. Thank you for your precious time and explaining your project. I hope it really helped the developers to understand the Z Anatomy project, and the resources you have shared are really valuable. And I'll definitely post these in the group, that the Slack channel that we have of Z Anatomy. And I hope, guys, these here we are going to end this AMA session, and we are looking forward for more such AMA sessions with multiple project owners, so that you can get an idea. You can submit your proposals based upon understanding the projects a little bit more from the project owners. So thank you, Gauthier. Thank you for joining in. You have really done a great job in on building the Z anatomy project. I really appreciate your time and your contributions.
And if the people who apply want to understand a little bit of it, please just go on the website and go on the main links, and you'll get it. And if you have the chance, try downloading the app and using it, that you'll see at which level we are on the development. I think it has a great potential, and I hope to collaborate with you.
Absolutely. That's really awesome to learn from the leaders like you. Thank you so much, Gauthier, for your time. So, thank you, everyone.
And
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
for any question, available on Slack or Discord. Okay. So see you soon, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in.
Okay, bye bye.